Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.
We really make a lot of different cool things in Illinois, and it's great to showcase them. The John Deere Combine, the new Rivian truck, dinger batch used by Major League Baseball players, a self-regulating traffic heater, pins that are used on some of the NASA spacecraft, a big outdoor chiller, Blistex lip ointment, Caterpillar's bulldozer, big dump truck from Komatsu.
I was personally a little bit disappointed that the Nerds gummy clusters did not make the cut. How did that happen?
Not enough people voted. In Illinois, it's vote early and vote often.
I'm Sarah Fetsky. This is St. Louis on the Air. What's the coolest thing that's made in Illinois? Last year, thanks to the Illinois Manufacturers Association, state residents got to vote on that for the first time. And they chose something appropriately huge, the 797F mining truck. It's manufactured by Caterpillar Inc. in Decatur, and it's the world's largest mechanical truck, more than 23 feet tall, with 6 13-foot tires. Now, this year, voters will again choose something cool made in the land of Lincoln. And joining us today to explain how and why is Mark Denzler. He's the president and CEO of the Illinois Manufacturers Association. Mark, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
So, Mark, tell us how this all got started. What led you to asking Illinois people to choose the coolest thing made in the state?
Well, we just thought it would be a great way to showcase the products that are made in every corner of the state of Illinois. Illinois is a manufacturing state. We have about 555,000 men and women that work on factory floors, and manufacturing is the single largest share of our economy. And we thought, hey, what a great way. Let people vote on what they think the coolest thing made in Illinois is and showcase our amazing manufacturing sector at the same time.
So your timing on this, we're kind of getting to that time of year where everything that's happening now was happening last year, right when the pandemic made things so weird. So you started before that. Did that contest take on new meaning as everything shut down?
I think it really did. Last year we had 262 unique products. This year we had 311 products that were nominated, more than 300,000 votes this year. And I think, one of the neat things to look at, Sarah, is things that weren't around a year ago. The University of Illinois saliva test, or Zebra Technologies labels that change color to make sure the Pfizer vaccine stays at the proper temperature. So, some things that we didn't have a year ago that are now part of this contest this year.
And it's amazing to think of people innovating even in these strange conditions we've been under, where you can't necessarily huddle in person, or, you have to be careful when you're there on a factory line. That's got to be pretty cool, too. That's a testament to what people have done.
It really is. The manufacturing sector, at every point in our nation's history, when there's been a crisis, manufacturers have stepped up. They've done it again this year, and last year and this year, whether it's making the vaccines or the therapies or making sure we have food and other products like toilet paper in our stores, making sure that energy is produced. They are really, truly a cog in the economy, making sure that the economy is moving forward. And these products that the 311, some are iconic. The John Deere Combine, for example, the new Rivian Automotive, or the new Rivian truck, or in Southern Illinois, dinger batch used by Major League Baseball players, or sports helmets used by NFL players. So we really make a lot of different cool things in Illinois, and it's great to showcase them.
Well, if people are interested in this showcasing, you guys do this as like a bracket-style tournament. People can go to makersmadnessill, that's 1L, ill.com, and they can check out these brackets. Now, our timing of this interview, Mark, is huge because this morning you just announced the 4 final finalists. I got to say, I was personally a little bit disappointed that the Nerds gummy clusters did not make the cut. How did that
I
happen?
would, I would. Not enough people voted in Illinois. It's vote early and vote often, and you're right. You can go to makersmadnessio.com. You can vote once a day. We started with 311. We got it down to 16.8, and now we're at the last four remaining. They are a self-regulating traffic heater.
Okay, you got to slow down there. Tell me, what is a self-regulating traffic heater?
So it's amazing. This is the red, yellow, green lights on your traffic signal, and these are heaters that go on to make sure that snow and ice don't accumulate on that heater. We then have Blistex lip ointment, so to keep your lips from chapping. Blistex is located in Oak Brook. One of my favorite, Custom Tooling, is a small company in Decatur, so central Illinois, and they make some of the pins that are used on some of the NASA spacecraft to make sure that those are held together properly, along with some other things. And then the last is a big outdoor chiller from a company called Thermal Care in Niles. And so, again, four very distinct products. And it's interesting when you see this. Some of the final 16 were Caterpillar's bulldozer and a big dump truck from Komatsu, the Candy, the Nerds that you talked about. But this is what the voters have voted for, and these are our last four products.
So outdoor chiller. Am I alone in not knowing what that is? Well, what is a Accu chiller?
So an Accu chiller is and it's a huge, it's a big outdoor chiller that water runs through and cools down and helps regulate the temperature of a house, I believe. And so again, just an amazing product that kind of flies under the radar. Some of these things, people are familiar with Blistex, but probably most people never thought about someone making a heater to make sure their traffic signals are clear of snow and ice.
Yeah, boy, you're telling the truth about that. So yeah, some of these are a little more obscure. How did they end up getting into this contest in the first place?
So anybody can nominate a product as long as it's made in Illinois. We had about 450 nominations that resulted in 311 unique products. So the only rules are that product has to be made within the state of Illinois. You can nominate yourself. You can nominate a customer, supplier, your favorite product. I nominated Crown Royal, my favorite liquor.
Nice.
And unfortunately, it didn't make it either. But it is interesting to see what people vote on. Last year, one of our finalists were Bloomington Beer Nuts, a very well-known food product. This year, no food made the last four, and so again, it's up to the whims of the voters.
Boy, this is some stiff competition when Crown Royal can't even get through.
It truly is neat when you look at some of the products. So Eli's Cheesecake is a famous product, and obviously the John Deere and Caterpillar products. All the White House china used on Air Force One is made in Illinois as well. And one of my fan favorite ones this year, we just all watched the Mars rover land here a few weeks ago on Mars. All the gears are made by a company called Forest City Gear in Roscoe, Illinois. So the gears for the Mars rover were nominated just a couple days after the rover actually landed on Mars after an 18-month flight. And so, again, a lot of very cool products, and it's our opportunity to showcase this. And we're so proud of the men and women on factory floors who have really helped us get through the pandemic, and there are brighter days on the horizon.
So, Mark, I can tell you're such a cheerleader for this sector, and that's so great to hear. What are some of the challenges that the sector as a whole is facing at this point?
So supply chain, certainly number one during the pandemic, has been extremely tough. Some of the subsectors have done better than others. Food, for example, medical equipment. But what was really amazing, and you referenced it earlier, during the pandemic, we saw companies completely flip. So they've been making liquor or beer, and they started making hand sanitizer, for example. Or some of our automotive companies and large equipment companies started making face shields and even ventilators. So I think it really shows that manufacturers are part of the arsenal of democracy during the world wars. And again, during this pandemic, they've really stepped up, and it's an all-in approach to make whatever we need in this country to move forward. And I couldn't be more proud of what manufacturers have done the last year and what they continue to do today.
And beyond that, I mean, that's huge. But they're also a real source of employment for Illinois residents. Do you think sometimes people take that for granted?
I do, and that's part of this contest is showcasing products. But as I mentioned, 550,000 men and women working on factory floors today. We contribute 12% of the gross state product, which is the single largest share. And most manufacturers are located in kind of nondescript buildings, industrial parks, and the average Illinoisan doesn't know what's being made there. And so this is an opportunity really to thank those workers and showcase some of these products that are made across the state.
So you can get your vote in. As Mark said, you can vote every day for this thing. For how long does this voting go on, Mark?
So voting will continue. Now we're at the last 4 products until Sunday night at midnight, and then we will crown a champion a week from tomorrow on March 24th. You will know what the coolest thing made in Illinois is for 2021.
And we will definitely update our listeners on that. But beyond the honor and glory of winning, what comes with being declared the coolest thing made in Illinois?
Well, you get the crown for a year, and we'll profile them in our magazine. They'll give a big trophy, some other awards, and again, they get to really showcase to their workers on the factory floor who are actually making the products that they're making the coolest thing made in Illinois, which is a great honor to have.
So for the 797 F mining truck, that trophy, this was a good morale boost over there at Caterpillar Inc.
You know, it really was when I got to go over and deliver it. And of course, during the pandemic, we had to go outside, but they've got a huge flag now hanging in their facility. They've got a big trophy. Some challenge coins went to a lot of the workers on the factory line. And it was really neat to see Caterpillar and their employees really play it up on social media. And the number of people that said, hey, I used to work on that, or when I was in Decatur, I was part of the process designing it. So manufacturers really take great pride in what they do. And to your point, the average manufacturing job pays about $80,000 a year in wages and benefits. So these are great middle-class jobs.
That is, yeah, that's a good salary there. Well, I'm glad that there's also that pride in work. I mean, that's also amazing. And it's so great to hear about all these things being made right here in Illinois. So Mark Denzler, President and CEO of the Illinois Manufacturers Association, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah.
Keep an eye on our social media. If you don't already follow St. Louis on the Air on Twitter, we're at STL on Air. We also have a Facebook group that's St. Louis on the Air. Just search for that on Facebook, answer a few questions. You can join that group, and we will update you when a winner is declared so you will not miss the news of what is the coolest product made in Illinois. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.